sorry to tell people, but no, this is not a book about mice. I know it's of mice and man, but mice aren't really the main key
Full
point
size
of the
plus
book.
5 small ones.
Okay, so the book I decided to read is John Steinbeck. Don't really know how to pronounce his name. Of Mice of Man. It's a classic book. I will admit I haven't got that far in the book. I really just started reading it yesterday. And what I actually did was I went to YouTube and I actually listened to the recording of the man, but I haven't had that much time to read it. I'm so sorry. But I was taking notes while reading. Okay. So first thing I noticed is that in the beginning, John Steinbeck, basically he gave us a very detailed beginning using imagery about the surroundings. Because in the beginning, it doesn't introduce the man, and the two men are George and Lenny. And in the beginning of the book, it says a few miles south of Solon in the, I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce Sillis River, drops in close to a high side bank and runs deep and green. The water is warm too, for it has slipped twinkling over the yellow sands in sunlight before reaching the narrow pool on one side of the river. The golden foothill slopes curve up to the strong and rocky Gabbling Mountains, but on the valley side, the water is lined with trees. And basically, he gives us a description from pages 1 through 2 in the middle, and then he starts talking about how two men begin to appear. Okay, and I found it kind of interesting how he made the man complete two opposites. And in the book you would see he even states how the men are basically two opposites. Like, George is smaller, he's more intelligent, he's more defined when it comes to his appearance, while Lenny is real sloppy and this huge guy. Also, he gave the small one smarts, and Lenny was kind of the dumbed down one. Also, what I have noticed is that Lenny seemed to have a childlike mind, like he had childlike tendencies, and he was always seeking for George's approval, like George is his father. Lenny enjoyed to imitate George throughout the reading. Well, the parts I read, he enjoyed to imitate George as if George was his father and he was like a little boy. Like, anything George would do, he would do. Like, the way he drank his water. Also, one part in the book when they finally arrived to their job, which was like a little bit late because they were expecting in the morning. When I finally arrived, George was like making up his bed, looking at it, doing all this stuff, and Lenny started to imitate him. He imitates him drinking water, doing mainly anything. Um, I also found it funny how the big guy, Lenny, is so timid and soft, while George, the little guy, is like the leader. Like, usually, the big guy, with all the strength, will be like the leader, like the star football player or something like that. But in this book, I found that kind of interesting how that's different. I can barely read my handwriting; it's so terrible. Um, I also noticed that even though George was hard on Lenny, it is clear that he cares about him, and like he tells him so in the book. Like, also, it's one part is where Lenny and him were talking. Like, Lenny can't remember anything. Lenny thought he had his work card, but George had it, and George was like, you idiot. You think I would give you your work card? But think about it. Like, he's keeping his work card for him, even though he's hard on him and everything. He genuinely cares about him, because if not, he would just gave him his work card. And and he's, like, I even wrote it in a quote, you you never had it, you crazy bastard. I got both of them. Do you think I would let you carry your own work card? That clearly shows that he cares about him. um I already said Lenny repeatedly imitates him. I was really confused in the book when let me go to the page I wrote down, page 8. Because the book I haven't got that far, so I don't know like if mice is gonna make a big impact. But from what I've seen, Lenny has an obsession with mice. Um, Lenny he does like he picks up a dead mice and like is carrying around in his pocket, which is kind of weird. George, makes him throw away the mice. Lenny, he sends Lenny for some wood later on. Lenny comes back with one twig and the dead mice. Lenny had an aunt named Clara or something like that, but she died. And like George is watching over him, and she used to give Lenny mice too, cause Lenny always wanted something to pet, something to be, I guess, caring to like. But he would always kill him because he's such a big guy and he doesn't really know how to be gentle, I guess. But I found that strange how Lenny has the obsession with mice. Like I also my question is why did he feel so badly to where he needed a pet? Why did he need a pet so bad? Like I don't know. Maybe I'm starting to think maybe because he gets taken care of. He wants to take care of something. Um, I wrote down go to page 12 for some reason. Let me see. Oh yeah, okay. Page 12. Basically, at this point, well, I'm not. I'm past this problem to page 26. Okay, at this point, around page 12, George is starting to think to himself, like, but he's saying it out loud, where Lenny could clearly hear him, and it's kind of what made me cry. It's like he's saying everything he could have done if he didn't have Lenny with him, and then Lenny starts to feel bad, and he looks over at the fire, he feels what George is basically saying, and he's telling him repeatedly, "I'll just go off into a cave. I'll live my life. I'll find something to eat if I have to." Um, and like as he's saying this repeatedly, as he's telling George he would do this for him, he would leave him alone if he have to. George is like, no. Even though he knew he could do so much better without Lenny, he decides, he says to him, "I want to keep you." And he's basically telling him like, cause George, even though he's saying all this stuff, he knows how bad Lenny needs him, and I feel like I'm starting to feel like it's mutual, like the where they need each other. Even though George knows how much better he can do without Lenny, it's like I feel like it's a mutual relationship where they mutually need each other. They even have a little story that George, where Lenny likes to hear from George, where it's like in one point it's like they're comparing regular ranchman to themselves and how they're actually going somewhere in regular ranchman. They just keep on working and they even saying there because we're not like them. We have somebody looking after us. You have me and I have you. We have somebody to care about each other. So they mutually care about each other even though how much drama or how much trouble that Lenny gets to. Also, with Lenny, he's always getting him in trouble. Like I guess it's with women. He likes to touch them. I really don't know the obsession with that. That's kind of weird. But and okay, the point I'm in now, they have finally arrived to the ranch and they meet this old guy. And basically, throughout the book, I noticed that John Steinbeck, he likes to use descriptions for each and every character that steps into the book. Like with Lenny and George, he described them to the T, how they looked, how they dressed. With the old man, he described how he looked with the boss, with the boss's son. He clearly gives a description of their size, shape, whatever they're wearing. Does that with his characters. Okay, but they arrive at the ranch. They meet the old guy. They talk for a little bit, and I guess George finds something on the bed he doesn't really like, and the old guy gets a description about the guy that previously stayed in the bed, which was one of those guys that makes weapons, a blacksmith. And the blacksmith was pretty clean and everything. I wonder why would he like really just tell my dad? I guess to reassure him that where he's sleeping is safe. They get to meet the boss. The boss is kind of mad because they came kind of late. And the boss kind of thinks that they're putting something over him since the simple fact that Lenny isn't supposed to speak. Lenny just stands there like a big, huge guy that cannot speak for himself. And that's what he has to do. Like, George has to speak for him because I guess he has some type of disability. Um, and also that happens, and then Curly, the boss's son, walks in, and Curly, I feel like I'm anticipating a problem between Curly and Lenny. Like, he deliberately picks on Lenny, and from the conversation that the old guy had with George, Curly picks on big guys because he's small. It's like he's mad at them for being bigger than him. And if you think about it, when you pick on somebody smaller than you, people gonna be like, "Why are you fighting them? Why are you doing that?" So, since Lenny, is like getting in trouble a lot from town to town, making them skip from work to work, I have a feeling that it's gonna be a problem in between Lenny and Curly simply because Lenny's big and he's helpless. Like, he's a big helpless guy, which is like so sad. But it's gonna be a problem between Lenny and Curly, and Lenny's gonna have to fight back for herself because George may not be around. And when that problem happens, they're gonna have to move again, or maybe even worse will happen. But that's the point where I got two in the book, and looking forward to reading the rest.